hallmark of quality.
Nostalgia Store Radio.
Remember, you heard it, probably danced to it a long time ago. Now's your chance to relive it with Living Radio. Remember.
Things, we dedicate this program,
The Dam Busters,
presented by the author himself, Paul Brickhill, dramatized by Morris West, an Australasian radio production.
Good evening. This is Paul Brickhill. This story begins in September 1939 in a designer's office at the Vickers Armstrong's aircraft works at Weybridge, near London. There are two men in the room. One is Barnes Wallis, aircraft designer for Vickers. The other is one of his senior colleagues. They are listening on a small portable radio to the voice of Neville Chamberlain, Prime Minister of England.
This morning, the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
Well, Wallace, that's that.
As you say, that's that. Well, I'd better get back to work.
Wallace, you're the oddest fellow I've ever known. The lights of Europe have been doused for a second time in a generation. All you can say is, I'd better get back to work. And besides, today's Sunday. By rights, we shouldn't be here at all.
All of us better get back to work, or the lights will never shine again.
Yes, I see what you mean. What are you working on?
Still on this confounded tail plane for the Warwick. It's more tricky than I thought. So we'll get it right.
Oh, well, I'll see you later.
Oh, no, don't go for a minute. There was something I wanted to ask you.
What's that?
Here, sit down. You like a cigarette?
No, thanks. What's on your mind, Wallace?
I've been thinking about this war. Thinking about the last one, too. Trying to analyze what are the sources of a nation's power.
What, military power?
Military power, economic power, political power, it's all one. Armies, air forces, navies are made up of men and machines and weapons. But men have to be fed, machines have to be built and maintained. What gets them built? What feeds them and keeps them going?
Well, agriculture for food, coal, oil, steel, water power.
Right. Let's take these things one by one. If we can deprive an enemy of oil and coal and power, we strike at his very heart.
Well, that's elementary, my dear Wallace. Textbook stuff.
And perhaps we should start rereading the textbooks. Look out there. That production line of ours will be working 24 hours a day, turning out Wellington bombers.
Well, they're good craft, aren't they? You designed them.
It's not the aircraft I'm thinking about. It's the bombs.
What are you driving at?
Just this. The biggest bomb available in this country today is a 500-pounder. Its filling is amatol, a second-rate explosive, and each 500-pounder carries only 125 pounds of charge.
You can do a devil of a lot of damage with 125 pounds of amatol.
Could you wreck a coal mine with it?
Well, no. Not unless you dropped it down the spout, as it were.
Exactly. You could drop one on the Battersea power station, and unless you were dead on a vulnerable spot, you'd even cause a flicker in London's power supply. The same with oil installations. You can damage surface plant, disrupt activity, but you don't touch the potential.
Oh, no, but if you use blanket bombing...
Blanket bombing is a waste, a criminal waste of men, machines, and armament.
Then what is the answer?
Here, look at this. Do you know what that is?
Well, it looks familiar.
That's a photograph of the Murner Dam, which supplies 1/3 of the water and power to the whole of the Ruhr. Do you know that to make a ton of steel in the Ruhr, you need 8 tons of water? If you could destroy the Murner Dam, and the other two, the Ada and the Sorpe, you could cripple the German armament industry overnight.
What? Blow up the Mona Dam with a bomb? Wallace, you're crazy. You can't mean it.
I do mean it. That's what we need. And that's what we've got to get. A bomb that will blow up the Mona Dam. A dam buster.
Oh, I say, Charles, come off it. This is the Ministry of Aircraft Production, not the Wavy Navy. We have to work for our money. But I'll tell you what, if you could pick me up at 4:30... Oh, no, it isn't possible, dear boy. I've got somebody coming to see me in a few minutes. Boffin type, you know, name of Chalice or Wallace. No, I don't know. All these inventors look the same, and they're all as mad as hatters. No, that's all right, Charles. See you at 4:30. Goodbye. Oh, hello. How did you get in here?
The young lady showed me, and I have an appointment.
Oh, yes, you're Mr. Chalice.
Wallace.
Oh, yes, yes. Like a cup of tea?
Thank you, yes. You've read my notes?
Your notes? Oh, yes, have them here right under my hand. Very interesting, very ingenious.
I'm glad of that. Well, what are you going to do about them?
Do? I'm afraid we can't do anything. I mean, a dam-buster bomb is all right in theory.
If the theory's right, it must work in practice.
Yes, I suppose it must. Sugar? 2 lumps or 1?
None, thanks. Now, as I pointed out in my notes, the 3 principal problems are the weight of the bomb, the design of the aircraft to carry it, and the problem of aiming the bomb.
Aiming it? Oh, yes, of course, very important. Biscuit?
No, thank you.
What you must understand, my dear fellow...
I'm not your dear fellow. I put before you a perfectly logical thesis on the design, construction, and delivery of a 10,000-pound bomb, capable of breaching 3 of the principal dams in Germany, and you offer me tea and biscuits.
What you must understand, Mr. Wallace, is that there are channels, methods of approach. And besides, if I'd known you didn't like tea...
To the devil with your tea, sir, and your biscuits, too. Give me my notes. See if I can find someone who doesn't talk like a congenital idiot. Good day, sir.
My dear Wallace, for my own part, I am more than prepared to accept both your figures and your conclusions.
Meaning that other people won't?
How many of our brains trust can read a simple memorandum, let alone an intricate set of calculations?
What do we do about it? Surely, Tedder, you have some influence?
Yeah, Vice Marshals, 2 a dozen. But I do have a lot of friends. I'll talk to some of them. You'll have to leave it with me for a while, I'm afraid. You know how these things are done.
I know only too well how these things are done. But it's a comfort to know there's someone who doesn't think I'm just another crack-potted inventor.
You know, Wallace, if there was some way you could demonstrate your conclusions. Actions speak louder than words.
They've been demonstrated already.
Oh, how? When?
Back in 1935, when they were building Waterloo Bridge. And the engineers found that the concrete piles were no sooner driven into the mud than they shattered. That's the exact word, shattered.
Why?
Well, putting it simply, the shock wave was sent down the pile by the impact of the pile driver, then it bounced back up the pile as soon as it hit the clay at the bottom. Result, tension was created in the concrete, which shattered it in exactly the same way as this bomb which I've described would shatter the concrete retaining wall of a dam. You'll find it all in the Journal of the Civil Engineering Institute.
Yes. Which brings us back to our first problem, how many of our colleagues can read. Leave it with me. I'll see what sort of interest I can stir up. Meantime, if you could think up a way of demonstrating.
I'll think about it. And thanks, Terra.
Oh, it's the truth, I tell you. If you'd seen him, you'd think the old boffin had gone crazy. There he was in his backyard with all these children, tossing a chunk of broomstick handle into a tub of water. You've never seen such a mess. When I spoke to him, it was quite odd. So odd that I decided to leave him to it.
He's been pestering every one of the departments for weeks now with some crazy idea or other. They've had him, I can tell you. Oh, here he comes now.
Oh, good morning, gentlemen.
Oh, good morning.
Can I have a cup of tea, Maisie?
How's the tailplane coming along, Wallace?
Oh, the tailplane? Oh, fine. I've ironed out all the bugs. By the way, Jackson.
Yes, what can I do for you?
Do you think one of your office girls could do a job for me?
What sort of job?
Typing and duplicating.
How long is it?
About 70 pages of foolscap, 100 copies.
Oh, well, it's a tall order, but I suppose I can arrange it.
Good. I'll send it over this afternoon. See they make a good job of it, won't you? I'm sending it out to a lot of important people.
What, another plan to win the war?
Not exactly. But it could shorten it. I'll see you later.
Now I've heard everything, and I know he's going crazy.
Oh, my dear.
What is it, darling?
Have you seen that projectile of mine, the one I was using in the garden last Saturday?
Oh, you mean that piece of broomstick? What? I'm sorry I threw it out. Did it mean something?
Oh, dear. It's quite a nuisance. She'll have to carve another one.
I'm sorry, dear. I didn't realize. I thought it was... Who could be calling at this hour? On Saturday morning, too. I shan't be a moment, dear.
Excuse me, ma'am. Is Mr. Barnes-Wallace at home, please?
Yes. Won't you come in?
Who is that?
A gentleman to see you, Barnes, dear.
Oh, I wasn't expecting visitors. Oh.
Mr. Wallace?
That's right.
My name's Jenner, sir. The Special Branch, Scotland Yard. Do you think I could see you for a few minutes? Alone?
Oh, certainly. Excuse us, my dear.
I'll be in the kitchen.
Now, Mr. Jenner, what can I do for you?
A gentleman in the Department of Aircraft Production received this document in the mail. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do. I wrote it and posted it myself.
Oh, I see, sir.
Is there anything wrong in that?
Yes, sir, I'm afraid there is.
Well, then, what's wrong?
I'm sorry, sir, but I must ask you to come with me to Scotland Yard.
It was a devastating piece of irony that Barnes-Wallace, the man who designed the R-100, the most successful British dirigible, the Wellesley and the Wellington bombers, should be taken in charge by a plainclothes policeman and hustled off to Scotland Yard. But Barnes-Wallace was a man untouched by irony, and he sat through the long drive and the longer minutes of waiting with an air of faint puzzlement, which deepened when he was ushered into a drab room and closely questioned by a deputy commissioner.
You are Mr. Barnes-Wallace?
That's right.
You are a chief designer at Vickers Limited at Weybridge?
That's right.
As such, you are in a possession of a great deal of highly secret information of extraordinary value to the enemy.
Well, yes. Yes, I suppose I am.
You are the author of this report on a project for the breaching of 3 important hydroelectric dams in Germany.
Yes.
And yet I understand that you committed to the mails more than 70 copies of this vitally secret and vitally important document.